and welcome to Cook Along With Us. Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be making a pasty for on the go. The ingredients that we will need: some butter, carrots, mince an onion, potatoes, and some flour. The equipment that we will need today: a saucepan, a tin opener, a knife, a wooden spoon, an oven-proof dish, a chopping board or a plate, and a rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can use a jar or you can use a water bottle, anything like that.
So the first thing you're going to want to do is you need to empty your flour into your saucepan or mixing bowl if you have one. Then we're going to add the butter. For making pastry, chilled butter is better, but really if it's a bit soft or if it's completely melted, it's not a major problem. We're not pastry chefs. Once you've added your butter, you need to start mixing your butter and your flour together. You're looking to make a fine kind of breadcrumb kind of texture. Really get your fingers in there. You want to make sure it's all mixed really thoroughly. And so you're looking for a breadcrumb texture, but your flour will also go a golden colour. Once you've got your breadcrumb texture, you're going to add some water. It's better to add a little at a time because you can always add more, but you can never take it away once it's in there. It will feel as though you've got nowhere near enough water. Don't panic, make sure you're mixing it thoroughly. It will soon start to clump together quicker than you think. Add a little bit more water. We're looking for quite a firm dough. It'll still be a little bit tacky, but we're not looking for it to slip between your fingers when you try and lift it. We don't expect you to mix your flour this quickly. Kelly is a trained professional. Not at making pastry, but a trained professional. Once you've got your pastry, we're going to sit that on the chopping board and we're going to start to roll that out. If you need to put some flour down on your chopping board to stop it sticking and on your rolling pin, go for it. By turning the pastry as we roll it, we can make sure we get an even roll. Use any little bits of pastry to fill any gaps that you might create. And then you need the pastry to be big enough for the bottom of your saucepan or plate, whatever you're using. Carefully, using a kitchen knife, cut around the shape that you're using. Make sure it is circular. And make sure you're cutting all the way through so that you're not a nice clean breakaway when you remove the excess pastry. There we go, pull away the pastry you don't need. Feel free to use that for decoration on top of the pasty when you're finished if you like. we're just going to push that pastry to one side while we start to get our filling ready. So we're going to start with the potatoes. It's entirely up to you. Cut them into whatever size chunks you want inside your pasty. We've gone fairly small, but if you want a bit more of a bitey pasty, feel free to leave bigger bits of potato in there. You won't need to use the whole tin of potatoes, so make sure you store them appropriately and you can use them for another meal. We're just going to place those in the saucepan ready to mix with the other ingredients. And then we're going to move on to our carrots. Again, exactly the same as the potatoes. You won't need the whole tin, I don't think, and cut them up as small or leave them as big as is your personal preference. If you want a more carroty pasty, add more carrots or peas or whatever vegetables you have. There we go, and then we're going to add that to the potato. And then our final ingredient that we're going to add is our tinned meat. We're using a mince and onion mix, but if you want to mix it up, make it a bit more spicy, you could use a chili mix, you could use a bolognese mix, you could even use tinned meat. But what we would suggest is, if you're going to use just plain tinned meat, maybe add a little bit of gravy just to add some moisture, but not too much. You don't want a really soppy inside to your pasty. We're then going to take our pastry that we prepared earlier, pop it back onto our chopping board, and it's ready to add our filling. You want to try and get your filling as much in the middle as possible. That'll help you when you're folding it over and you're pinching your edges together. It'll take more filling than you think, but just make sure you don't put too much in. You want a nice even fold. So you're going to take your two sides, fold it in half perfectly, and just gently push around the edges, keeping that filling nicely in the middle. Once you're happy with your shape, use your thumbs just to push down the edges of the pasty. You can use a fork to do this if you like, but if you are using a fork, be careful because it can cut through the pastry, and that's not what we're after. You'll notice our pasty is a little bit bigger than our oven dish, so when you're placing your pasty in your oven dish, if it is bigger, just be careful. You want to make sure it's in there nice and firm, but you don't want to squish it so that you lose all of your shape and maybe create a crack in your pastry. Gently lift it and just place it in. Push down a little bit if you feel like you need to, but as I say, you don't want to lose that shape. Then we're going to place it in the oven for 180 degrees centigrade or 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And there you have it, your very own pasty.
Don't forget to give us a big thumbs up, subscribe down below and hit that notification bell. Bye!